Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as we have a fun-filled show for you today because it's a Thursday. We're going to get plenty of things going on today, not only doing a vibe checking of the chat presented by our friends at Basis Health, but we're also going to get into who our heavy hitters are, presented by HD Roofing and Construction. Get into, of course, your chats, and also get into some of the fun SARACEN prop plays and all that great stuff that's going on with the Arkansas football game, as well as college football this weekend. Got NFL tonight, all of that great stuff. But either way, it's good to be here on a Thursday. Guys, how are the vibes here on this Thursday afternoon?
Strong. The vibes are strong. Feeling good. Good day so far. We're almost to the weekend. Can't complain.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I feel very good today as well. I feel like I was in a bad mood yesterday, so I'm almost wanting to overcompensate, but I do feel great. The NFL season starts today. We got our video game stream going tonight. Life is good. The hog is strong, and we're going to have a good show.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that it will be happening tonight, and we're actually going to have a real team, the actual team that Arkansas will be playing tonight, instead of having to pick some random one where it ends up being too close. But who knows what will happen. I don't think War Memorial is in the game either. So we're just going to have to play it in Fayetteville. Sorry, everybody, but may change the entire concept, may change the entire vibe that everybody has about the game. Be like, well, if it was in Little Rock, might be a little bit different.
Should we go to Jonesboro, though, John? I mean, who's to say? Who made that call? Why are we so sure we need to go to Fayetteville? Should we go to Jonesboro? Would that be a better accurate representation?
Sam Pittman would be so pissed.
I was about to say, spit in the face of Sam Pittman. What are we doing here?
Yeah, he would be so pissed off if that ended up happening. So, but we'll make do. We'll figure it out, and it'll be completely accurate, I'm sure. And we'll do our best to make sure the depth chart and everything's on point. But that'll be happening at 8 p.m. tonight. So be sure to tap into the live stream tonight, as we'll have some fun with it, see how it goes, and be able to have some fun here on the night stream as well. But either way, guys, I know it's still, as we get closer to this game, the talk still starts happening. And it's just so funny where, I don't know if you guys gotten the same thing, but I've gotten it from a couple of people of just like, hey, if Arkansas loses this game, what happens? What's the impact and everything? And it's like, I don't think it's going to happen. None of us three on this panel think it's going to happen. We all predicted this to be an Arkansas win. There's nothing that can happen today or tomorrow or leading up to it on Saturday that's going to change our mind of Arkansas, unless like the entire starting lineup got busted with PEDs or something, just really nothing crazy that's going to change our minds. But something I heard you say, Curtis, before the show started, that it's never as easy as it should be. It's never as easy as it should be. It never is just an easy win. It's never just that, that way. And so I don't want to be the doom and gloom, but we do have to talk about the realistic, or at least somewhat of a realistic outcome, that this doesn't go well for Arkansas. So if it doesn't go well, one, how would it look? And two, what would the resulting outcome be? And then you don't have to be if it's a loss, just if it's too close of a win for Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't want to live in that world, but you're right. That's the world that we tend to live in more often than not, man. And it's weird because I think all offseason I kind of felt just a little bit uneasy about the potential of this being weird. This game, not necessarily that Arkansas would lose, but that it could just be tricky on them. And hey, I'm all for, respect your opponent and everything like that. But the closer and closer we get to this, the more I feel like Arkansas is just going to dog walk them. And that scares me even more. I don't like to feel that way because I usually don't feel that way about Arkansas football. So this, it is ripe for this to be a little bit strange of a game here. And I hope that it doesn't happen. Win the game, right? Like, as long as you get out of there by 1 point, by 30 points, it doesn't matter. People will have some things to say throughout the course of the week. If it's too close for comfort, they'll be questioning some things, but you can shut them right up when you go to Ole Miss next weekend. Like, there's always the opportunity to rectify that. If you lose, though, burn it down. I hate to be dramatic here, but it's like you said, Andrew, maybe they have to, implode War Memorial Stadium there. But that's just something I don't think you can come back from. So let's not live in that world.
Yeah, I think it is fascinating how many people, like you say, John, are like begging to know, like, well, what if? Well, what if? Listen, if that happens, as you said, Curtis, burn it down. It is going to be that big of a disaster. Like we will gladly account for that. This week, I feel like is the proper distinction between a must win and a can't lose. This is not a must win. And I do crack up at how many people throw around the term must win, but this is a game you cannot lose. And there is a difference here where, as we all know, you're not going to get any cookies for beating Arkansas State. Nobody's going to see you whip up, even if you beat Arkansas State 49-0. Nobody is going to see that, look at that, and say, you know what? Wow, man, Arkansas, they proved me wrong. They're a great football team. Wow, this is a good team. Nobody's going to do that, even if they maybe should, which they shouldn't. You're not going to get any credit. The pressure and the weight of all that is very obvious. Like, we don't even have to say that. If you guys want us to say it, we will gladly say it. But it's like everyone knows the situation here. And I think this is a good, nice opportunity for Arkansas to go out there, take care of business, do what you're supposed to do. And you may look at that and say, well, why would our guys be motivated for this game? Why would they be excited to play in this type of atmosphere? Well, my answer to that would be it's going to be a lot easier and a lot better than a lot of the tests they're going to face later on down the road. If you can't handle this test, how the hell are you going to handle Notre Dame coming into your spot? How the hell are you going to go to Oxford and beat Ole Miss? And so for Arkansas, I don't care what the team feels about it. I don't care how motivated they are. It's like, you just got to get the job done so we can move on to bigger and better things and we can have real conversations about real things that are happening.
Yeah, because to me, I guess, Curtis, me and you were alive for it, but we don't remember it. The Citadel game, Jack Crow, when I think it was the very first game, if I'm not mistaken, that Arkansas was in the SEC in football. That was the very first game. They lost at home to the Citadel 10-3, and Jack Crow was fired. And I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think Frank Broyles or anybody in the administration went into that game being like, well, if he loses, he's fired. Like, there wasn't a game plan for it. It was just more of, it happened, so here's our reaction to that happening. And I feel like that would be, at least I hope that would be the case of going into this game, whether it's Yurachek or the administration or whoever, to where it's not about having a game plan on, okay, well, if he wins, it's this, but if he barely wins, it's this, but if he loses, it's this. I don't think there's a game plan. I think it's just more of, all right, we're going to react to what the outcome ends up being. And if it's a negative one, we have to make an adjustment, because not many coaches have been fired after a single game. I know Chad Morris was fired after Western Kentucky, but I didn't think that was, we're going to, before the year started, we're going to give him until Western Kentucky. And then if he doesn't win that game, then we're going to fire him. It's like, there's no game plan set into place for anything like that. It's just a matter of, it when you see it, when it's a problem, when you see the problem. And that's what I am, of course, not wanting. None of us want that to happen for Arkansas to lose to Arkansas State. But because of the circumstances and because of Razorback fans being so, they're never comfortable. I've always said, or at least here recently when it comes to Razorback football, it's feeling good about a win is like trusting a fart when you got explosive diarrhea. It's like you think good about it, but it's just not going to happen that way. It never goes the way you think. So I don't think there's some precedent. I don't think there's some ruling. It's just a matter of this being the biggest game ever for Sam Pittman, because I believe that if it results in a loss, then changes need to be made. That's how strongly I feel about it. If you win, doesn't mean anything. But if you lose, changes need to happen, because this is, from that perspective, the most important game that Sam Pittman's had, and maybe one of the most important games that Arkansas's had in quite some time, as weird as it may seem.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is. That's why, Sam Pittman said it and admitted it, that all the pressure is on Arkansas here. I mean, he's not naive to what the repercussions will be if this doesn't go well. Now, I'm not saying it's an automatic he get fired if they lose this game or whatever, but to my point earlier, that's going to be a really tough one to come back from an optic standpoint. So he gets it. He knows that. And, I think you can be keenly aware of that without making it something more than it needs to be in terms of just an actual football game here. So, yeah, like I said, the closer we get to it, the better I feel about Arkansas, winning this one going away. But history has shown us that, sometimes in these spots, they make it way more interesting than it needs to be. That's just not a world that I want to live in. And this weekend in particular.
Yeah, I think to your point, John, the one game mattering that much thing, I think you can look at a lot of, coaches, if you coach 100 games at a university, the vast majority of them are games that the entirety of your program did not change based on the result of that game. You won games, you lost games, you won some that you were supposed to win, maybe you upset a team here or there, but it's very few times where you have a game where the result could literally change the entirety of your tenure and change the way the entire state feels about you. The goal here is to have this game not be that game. Have this game be one of those 98 that don't matter, that we don't tell our grandkids about, that we don't remember, but we all know what that feels like. Unfortunately for the Razorbacks, we know exactly what it feels like to go into a game and then feel completely differently about your program after that game. Curtis, you saw that one in San Jose State. I feel like that was a big one. The North Texas game the year before could certainly qualify as that. The ULM game is probably the most clear example I can have of that, of where I felt completely differently about the program leaving it. And for Arkansas, you kind of know that's at stake. But to be fair, was that not at stake last week? Had Arkansas lost to Alabama A&M, would we have not felt that way? I think it's kind of just part of what comes with the territory. And for Arkansas, I think that Sam Pittman has taken the right approach, and we've talked about a few times, of kind of dismissing this as a big moment in his tenure because it shouldn't be.
Yeah, my thing is also, I know that we could want to play the game, but I'll play the game. I'll say it right now. If Sam Pittman loses this and Arkansas loses this, I'm calling for his job. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that on publicly that he needs to be fired and fired immediately. And I don't know if that'll happen, but I feel that strongly about it. I think a lot of Razorback fans do. But I'll tell you what, so we don't, go all into the negative sauce here.
Well, it's too late. We've already got people having existential crises in the chat.
Well, what else is new? I mean, that's just another Tuesday for us. I mean, it seems like every single day for that. But don't worry, folks, because I do have a positive spin on this thing that I do want to get into. But I want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're brought to you by our friends over at Goat Lab. I know they had their grand opening tailgate Saturday, August 30th. And it was a great time. A lot of people got to step by over there and check it out. Well, it is officially open, and they're really going to be pushing for the lunch crowd out there, because, yes, they are open for lunch, and they have some great deals, especially when it comes to their best brews and their signature burgers that you can check out today. It's at 1214 North Garland there in Fayetteville, kind of close to where the old Mr. Burger used to be. I know a lot of you used to go down over there, but they have their Goat Lab signature brews like a Razorback, Tusk, and Tusk Light. I know it's our guy Dudley Dawson's favorite one. And they have these great deals going on like on Sundays. You can get all-you-can-eat pancakes with your choice of 2 Goat Lab brews or 2 mimosas for just $16. Hard to beat that deal. So check them out today. Again, it's a pregame, it's a postgame. It's one of the few places also that you can go for pre and post at Razorback games and be able to be in walking distance of the stadium. But also, it's a great place to watch the games because they have big TVs there that you can check it out. So if you're looking for a place to watch the Arkansas State game this weekend, head over to Goat Lab Red right there in Fayetteville at 1214 North Garland Avenue. Okay, so to put this in a different perspective, let's say, okay, Arkansas blows out Arkansas State, like I think most people are kind of maybe thinking or hoping. I know, Curtis, you mentioned it. Let's just say they blow them out. It's not even close from beginning to end. You see KJ Jackson in there. Maybe even we get the other Jackson kid in there, Trevor Jackson playing. I mean, destruction, absolute destruction. Does that change anything for y'all as far as going into Ole Miss, going into these other games? Because we talked about it with Alabama A&M, how it didn't really change anything. But if you have sheer domination of Arkansas State, does that change anything for your feelings going into that Ole Miss game the next week?
I don't know that I would say just beating up on them would do that, but if you did it in a certain way, I think I could feel better about some things going into the Ole Miss game. Like if the defensive line is really getting home and they're able to get Rayner on the ground and contain him, that'll give me a little bit of a boost of confidence for a spot on the defense where we're a little bit unsure about what that's going to look like. If the corners step up and they're able to play man coverage and limit that passing attack from an Arkansas State team they're not going to be as dynamic as Ole Miss will be next week, but they're going to be a hell of a lot more dynamic than Alabama A&M was the week before, then yeah, that'll make me feel a little bit better about what they got going on there. So, there are ways, we kind of saw this to a degree with Arkansas last weekend with how it went down, where you can blow somebody out on the field and you're still left with some questions. We saw it with Missouri too, against UCA. They win the game by 60 points or something. And you're watching them going, yeah, but they really are going to have to figure out some things on that offensive line. So it's not necessarily just about the score for me. It's about how it goes down. I think a lot of it would be the defense really stepping up and shutting down Arkansas State's offense. They do that. Yeah, sure. I feel a little bit better going into Ole Miss.
I mean, I'll just go ahead and say that, like, if the exact same game and the exact same results played out that they played out in week 1 in this week 2 matchup, I think that's a much, 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 much more impressive performance than people maybe realize. Like, I know that Arkansas State and Alabama A&M may not sound entirely different to you, but to the point we've talked about all week, like that's a 25-point difference in terms of the spread, in terms of stuff like that. So I think like this is a very different level of opponent. So I would feel better about Arkansas if they went out there and really laid the smackdown and just stomped them out. I would feel better about Arkansas, but to the point you're making, Curtis, and I agree, it would be very incrementally, like 4 or 5% better. Whereas I could feel 40% worse about this team if it's 27-24 going into the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Like the risk is way more than the reward they could get from this game. But no doubt about it, I would feel, if only even slightly, I would feel very much better about Arkansas if they went out there and really laid the smackdown and beat Arkansas State bad and covered the spread very easily.
Yeah, I would think that, again, it's about how you do it, but it's about just the building blocks of getting to that point to where it's like, all right, well, now we're 2 games in. And now we see, okay, is there some consistency with this offense? Was the Taylor Green 6-touchdown game that he had, was it more just about the opponent, or was there some a little bit more consistency to it? What about Mike Washington, for instance? You know, is the Mike Washington thing, oh, now he explodes and you see how good he is and all that we've been hearing about, you know, that to me, honestly, may change it a little bit more for me if you see the guys that are the pieces that weren't big and weren't a big part of the Alabama A&M game become that in this game. And so, yeah, like you mentioned, Curtis, the defensive line getting after the quarterback and causing some harm there. Maybe seeing some, you know, Taylor Green staying upright, no sacks, just little things like that would at least make me feel better. But it's not I don't think Arkansas is going to beat Ole Miss. And once again, I just don't see anything that could happen this weekend to make me think that, unless Ole Miss just gets trounced by Kentucky. And then maybe then I'm like, okay, well, maybe they stink. But even then, I'd still be like, wait a minute, this is nope, don't want to feel good about that. But that to me would almost be the only thing that could make me feel differently, is if it's more about what Ole Miss could end up doing against Kentucky than what it would be of Arkansas doing against Arkansas State.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have eyes on that one because, you know, Kentucky's viewed as probably the worst team in the SEC, not named Mississippi State, but there's a lot of respect for a Stoops defense over there. And, you know, they were dreadful with Calzada against Toledo offensively, but the defense looked pretty salty. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of challenges they pose there for Ole Miss. Austin Simmons, his first start on the road in the SEC. That could be interesting. You mentioned that just like the Taylor Green game and what that might look like in this one. And that's a good point too, because I was kind of fixated on the defense, but like there is a pathway to Arkansas winning this game against, you know, A-State by 30 points or something. But doing it in a way where, you know, Taylor, if he slipped back into some old habits, you know, like he was missing some throws, making some poor reads, turning it over a little bit, but he's just so much better than everybody else on the field that when he needs to make a play, he does. Like he escapes pressure and gets a huge ball downfield, or he, you know, makes a play with his legs and has a 70-yard touchdown pass that kind of masks some things, which is what he did at times last year. That I don't want to see. I would prefer it be a little bit closer, but Taylor Green be equally as sharp as he was, you know, in terms of his decision making, taking care of the football and everything like that. So yeah, the defense is the area that we identified, rightfully so, after that Alabama A&M game, of being like, yeah, they got some things that they need to sharpen up and figure out, and they got to move some pieces around, whatever. But you do want to see that consistency from week to week, from game to game with Taylor Green here for sure.
You mentioned Taylor's inconsistencies at times. The UAB game last year, I feel like that was the big story there was, and by the way, going into that UAB game last year, coming off of what Arkansas, they had that devastating loss at Oklahoma State, but everyone looked at that matchup on paper, us included, and were like, there is nothing on paper between these two teams that would indicate that this game should be close. And it's not the same situation with Arkansas State, but it's a pretty similar gambling line and all that. I think Taylor coming out there and having some of those deficiencies would be something that would maybe make me big picture change the way I felt about this team. By the way, going back to that Ole Miss Kentucky game, that's in Lexington, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a weird game because I think you could make an actual argument that Kentucky is better than they were at 4-8 last year, and Ole Miss is worse than they were as a potential playoff team last year. But at the same time, I still think Ole Miss beats them by like 20. I think the spread is around 10 right now. That is fascinating, though, right? That Kentucky punked them last year, and Kentucky very well could be worse. I mean, they Mark Stoops could get fired at the end of this year. But it is kind of weird how I think we all don't believe in Ole Miss quite as much, but expect them to handle this pretty easily, though.
Yeah, I feel the way of like if Kentucky did not beat Ole Miss last year, I would say that there could be some sort of thing to it, but I just don't see Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss losing twice in a row to Kentucky.
Yeah,
like
does lightning strike twice in the same place kind of deal?
Yeah, I just see there's no chance of that happening because Lane Kiffin's going to make sure of it. I felt like, and maybe I looked too much into it, but last year when Arkansas played Ole Miss, they got destroyed like nobody's business. I honestly thought that was one of those things from Lane Kiffin because it was like, hey, the last two times that we were here in Fayetteville, we got embarrassed. One of them, we got the doors blown off of us. We had another one, we threw 6 interceptions. So I'm going to make a statement here, and we're going to make sure we don't let that happen. I think that could absolutely be the case. And I'm kind of hoping that is what happens. Just it's my own psychology behind it, my own psyche of thinking that, oh, well, if Ole Miss beats Kentucky by 1 billion, that's going to make me feel better about Arkansas going into that, as weird as it may be. But who knows? Maybe it ends up being a disgusting game that's really close, and I still try to psych myself into it regardless. I really don't know. But that's definitely the game I think I'm going to be watching, besides Arkansas State, of course. That's the game that I'm going to be watching the most, is just to see what that's about. Because I saw somebody in the chat, like, Vids for me says, Ole Miss playing 2 SEC games by week 3 is weird to me. I feel like Arkansas has done that before, maybe. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's maybe not as uncommon as people think.
Did they do it the year they opened with Auburn? Or did they have a few?
A&M like week 4, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's close to it. Well, maybe it's not as common as I thought.
It is interesting how that works. And I don't know off the top who the other non-conference games are on Ole Miss's schedule. But like, I wonder where those fall. You know what I mean? Like, if they're not in week 2 and week 3, like, who the heck are you guys going to wind up playing?
I bet they got that pre-Thanksgiving cupcake that
probably
has become very popular over the years.
Man, I hate those. Yeah. Yeah. I do not like those whatsoever. I will say, I'm thinking about what we were talking about at the start of the show there. I could see a world where, as long as they win, and I think that's pretty much where I'm stuck. It's just win the damn game, right? But if it's close and it's ugly, and we might walk out of there Saturday night going, "Gosh, man, like this could turn south." I don't know about this, but I bet by pretty early in the week we would be able to do the mental gymnastics of, you know what though, that was just a weird game. We knew it was going to be that way. The Arkansas State thing was weird. It didn't feel right. You're in War Memorial. And you just had to get that one on. You got to be on the other side of that. They're going to be fine. It's SEC play. This is a game that makes sense for them, and we're not worried about the pressure and all that. I could see myself doing that for sure. And then by the time we get to that Ole Miss game, I'm like, all right, yeah, no, Arkansas is fine. They got this covered. Nothing that happened last weekend is an issue. We ride.
We definitely have a tendency to do that. And listen, you never really know until you see it play out. And I think a lot of times we make the mistake of like comparing. We look at past games and we kind of compare them, but all these games are unique. All these teams are very different. Like playing Arkansas State, that's not the same as playing, like North Texas, whenever it was, or Colorado State's. Like these are all very different situations, very different teams. But I will say, Curtis, I think because it's not as simple as, hey, if you beat bad teams by a lot, you're going to be able to beat good teams, and you're going to be able to do this of like, well, if you only beat a bad team by 21, then you suck. It's like, it really isn't that simple. But I think for Razorback history, if I look back, a lot of those games, the Western Carolina is one we've referenced a lot as a game where Arkansas won it comfortably, but we all saw red flags and some of us kind of ignored them. We kind of just were like, it's really not that bad. I feel like that's a dangerous game. When you start really starting to be like, well, I don't know. I mean, Jalen Rayner, I remember doing that with Portland State. I really did. I genuinely, my heart, I was telling my dad, I'm like, I know it was ugly, but like, it's going to be fine. I think that's always a dangerous game. And the Alabama A&M game, I don't know if that classifies as that of us like doing mental gymnastics, because they wound up winning 52-7, but that would be 2 weeks in a row where we're like, it didn't look great there for a while, but it's all good. And so that would concern me.
Yeah. That would. I would, because also too, it's like the year 6 of Pippin's, like even with the Chad Morris, which I'm not justifying it, but it was kind of like, oh man, all these new players and year 2, all these freshmen, it's like, what do you expect? Say this one, there's none of that. He's like, no, there's nothing that can be said. Because we even talked about it last week going in Alabama A&M. There was going to be nothing that we could say or do or think that's going to make us be like, oh, well, this team, Alabama A&M is really good. If the game ended up being close, it's going to be the same thing. It's like, no. If Arkansas wins this game 24-21, I'm not going to be like, man, well, who's Arkansas State Super Bowl and everything. It's like, no, that was a poor performance, and that should have never happened. Even if you win, which you'll be happy if you win, but even if you win, I will refuse to just I will refuse to try to psych myself into believing that this was just some hard-earned victory against a quality opponent.
I will say we've the 2022 season is also a fascinating test case because Arkansas had a game against Missouri State by Petrino where it was like, I think the final score ended up being like 38-28 or something like that. They had to come back. They had to get a Bryce Stevens punt return touchdown, and it was a very sketchy game. And I think we all looked at that, and Arkansas went to 3-0 in that game, and we were like, that was tough, but like, we're doing that mental gymnastics stuff. It wasn't that bad. The next week is when they have the KJ Superman, fumble 6 thing. Later in that year, they wind up losing to freaking Liberty. So it was like the red flags that were in that Missouri State game showed up against Liberty, but Arkansas also went 6-6. And so it's like, I think this year's team is like a perfect candidate to do some crap like that, honestly.
I also thought that, year you just brought up, I think it almost made it a little bit better. Again, looking at my own psyche, because you had just beaten Cincinnati and South Carolina. It's like
100%.
Because it's like you had those games that like helped me in my mind because I just love Bobby. And I had never enjoyed barely winning a game in my life more so than watching Missouri State and those beautiful slants and those the Cowboy go get them play. I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Me and Brendan and Devin, we're just sitting up there just like hugging each other after they scored a touchdown. Be like, this is old school. We love this. But yeah, I think that it's always about the timing and the context of when those games take place as well.
People were actively getting a little bit frustrated with me and Andrew in the press box at that Missouri State game because we were like nervously giggling for a big portion of that. People are like, what is wrong with these two dudes? And then Bryce Stevens returned that punt and then all was right in the world or whatever. But and that also happened against Liberty in that game. I remember that because now Tom Murphy was beside himself up there in the press box. He was not happy with what he was seeing during that game. But it's kind of funny, those reactions that happen up there too, man, of just what the heck is going on here. But yeah, the Bobby Petrino one specifically, I kind of felt the same way because, they were burning Arkansas on some of those plays and everything. It's just like, damn, man, he still got it. I love it. I can't say it, but I do.
I remember Curtis, we kept doing the updated thing of like, okay, they're still going to win, right? Because you keep saying that anytime your team, like against Alabama A&M, you give up the touchdown, you're still going to win, right? You're kind of doing that. And the longer that game went on, I remember when that KJ had a pick that bounced off of, I think it was some tight end. It might have been Trey Knox. I think it was Trey Knox's hands and into the guy's thing. That's when me and Curtis were like, dude, they really like might not win. Like they will, but they might not. It took us a while. We kind of were experiencing that. It felt like a fever dream.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a weird, talking about a weird game, like in the weirdest of ways. Cause it was like enjoying seeing the other team play, and other team have success. And it's just, again, it was a thing of beauty. I wanted to say they did the wheel route too. It was just like playing the hits was what Bobby was doing. He's like, I'm back in town. So this is where I was well remembered. And I'm not saying anyone cheered in the Razorback, stadium when Bobby scored a touchdown and everything, but there were people being like, oh man, that was kind of nice. I like that. But hey, that's okay. Now he's your OC. So you don't have to worry about that happening. Now he's your offensive coordinator, and you get to see it a little bit for yourself. So we'll have some more topics as well as get into the chat. Want to remind everybody, though, that we're presented by our friends over at Hickey & Hull Law, because we know that criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury cases, divorce, custody, all these things, they're extremely important. And anytime that you're dealing with it, you want to make sure that you have the persistent and diligent representation to help you guide you through the entire process. And that's what Hickey & Hull Law will do for you. They have handled over thousands of family law cases and have experienced every scenario that has ever come up. And they know that every case they take is important, and they strive to give each one the utmost time and care that it deserves. So give them a call today. If you need help with any of these cases, any of these things, give them a call today. 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. They have offices in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Mena here in the state of Arkansas. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhull.com, where you can scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey & Hull Law. Things are about to get better. So again, talking about Arkansas and Arkansas State this weekend, and in fact, guys, I did a Locked On crossover this morning with the guy who does the Locked On Sunbelt. There is no Locked On Arkansas State podcast just yet, so if anybody's looking, maybe one day. But it was funny to get to from the people's perspective, or at least from his perspective, about this Arkansas and Arkansas State game. And it kind of hit me because he covers all Sunbelt teams, but it kind of hit me where he's not an Arkansas State guy, and he understood that it's a big deal, but he's also like, yeah, it's an interesting game, kind of cool, whatever. And that's something kind of reminds me a little bit of this particular game where, yes, it's like a big deal here in the state to some, if not most. But man, no one gives a flying rip about this at all anywhere else. Like, it is not a game that's on anyone's radar. It's not, like on the SEC network, they're not going to be leading off to be like, this historical matchup between Arkansas and Arkansas State. You guys wouldn't believe it. What a game. What a time. This was insanity. That's not going to be happening. So it's just like a friendly reminder of kind of like, yeah, I guess it's not really as big of a deal. And it's just funny to me because you get stuck in your little bubble a little bit of feeling like, oh yeah, history and pageantry and all that. And in fact, some people, not this guy, but some people were even like, wait, the game's being played in Little Rock? Why? It's like they don't even know it's being played there. So it's just funny to see there's still a lot of people that do not care about this game whatsoever.
So that's a very good point. Yeah, nobody outside the state of Arkansas is batting an eye at this. They're not thinking anything about it. It's like, Kentucky played Western Kentucky. All right. Texas played Texas State. Okay. Arkansas played Arkansas State. All right, moving on. Yeah, just another week of the bye games. I guess it makes sense. They're in the same state or whatever. So easy travel for the little guys there, and they get a paycheck. That's cool. And nobody's thinking of it. That's very, very true. That outside of the borders of this state, man, this is a big fat nothing burger.
Y'all want to know what can change that really quickly?
Yes.
You want to know how Arkansas can attract the attention of the nation? It can happen really quickly. But no, you're 100% right. And by the way, like, that's not necessarily a huge surprise. I do think that's interesting, but that's why I usually text my buddies when there's like a cool Arkansas story going on. I'll usually get a text from someone, oh, hey, Arkansas is doing this. Or I'll text them like, hey, did y'all see this cool Arkansas thing? I knew not to even bother this week. I was like, I don't think this is like a thing. And by the way, like we've been saying, if things go according to schedule, it will remain that way. Like there is not going to be a national narrative if Arkansas wins 58-3. Hey, watch out for the pigs, man. There's going to be a lot of people that don't realize that happened, and Arkansas needs to keep it that way, at least for the next few days.
Yes, like that to me is what is the last thing you want to have happen is something to that extent, because that will be the one that gets remembered. Because I was talking with some of my buddies too, who are proponents of the Little Rock game, and they they appreciate the history and all of that. It's like, listen, I get it. You always want to remember the positive things. So let's not forget the Little Rock War Memorial Stadium, all that still had the ULM game down there. It still had the Toledo game in 2015. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not like just the bad losses happen in Fayetteville. It's like, no, there's been some clunkers down there in War Memorial Stadium. In fact, you can't even blame it on Chad Morris, because Chad Morris lost everywhere. It didn't matter if he was in Fayetteville. He could have been in anywhere. He would have lost. But that's one thing that I think is always funny to me is people talk about Little Rock and the tradition and the LSU game. It's like, yeah, for sure. But there was also some pretty magnificent losses there that ended up having a pretty big impact. Because even that Toledo game in 2015, you forget about, at least I forget about, because when I went back and looked, because I was looking at the history of War Memorial and just the games they've had, and I was sitting there, I'm like, 16-12?
500 yards of offense, John.
Yeah, 500 yards of offense, 16-12. Like, what? You have to try to have that happen. You have to try really hard to have that much offensive production and score as little points. And wasn't there like a punt return for a touchdown that got called back from Arkansas, like from Andre Tolliver or something weird like that? I don't know, but still, it's just weird, kooky things happen in Little Rock too. It's not just in Fayetteville. It's down there too.
You know what I remember about that 2015 Toledo game? There was a Brad Paisley concert for free outside the stadium after the game, and me and my family, we were going to go. We were like, hey, yeah, we're going to go see Brad Paisley. When they lost, we were like, hell no, we're not going to see Brad Paisley. But the traffic was so bad getting out of there that we could still hear the whole concert going on. And, You listening to Brad Paisley while you're in your car and it's just faintly playing in the background after you lost to Toledo. That's a bottom 5 moment you can have. And the ULM game, I still will go to my grave saying that is the single worst day of my life. I have never felt more pain in my heart than that game, that moment.
Yeah, that was pretty rough. Because, again, you ended up being on because I guess you were a top 10 team, but you ended up being on SportsCenter for all the wrong reasons, things that got thrown to you. Yeah. Let's just not relive one of those. Let's have the final game in War Memorial Stadium, potentially. Be a good one for Arkansas. No more of those bad memories and whatnot. I forgot about the Brad Paisley concert. And I was like, I did not remember that one. But I do remember being, because I was in War Memorial and I was in the press box back when I could be in there. And there was there wasn't even really a press conference room. It was just like this big open suite thing. And I remember everyone's crunched in there. And I forgot. I do remember which media member it is. I'm not going to say it. But he crossed his hands. He's not in the media anymore, but he crossed his hands, just be like, surreal. He just kept saying surreal over and over again. And I'm like, buddy, I'm pissed. And I can't even, I cannot believe, he's almost like crying. He's like, I could not believe they did this to us. They lost this game to us, to the media. It's like, well, I feel like Razorback fans are probably feeling a little bit terrible about it too. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, surreal. It was just surreal. But either way, extra is part of your Alumni Hall question today, presented by Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. Why do you folks need to get geared up? Maybe you're making the trip down to Little Rock from Northwest Arkansas for this game. Make sure you're rocking the best Razorback gear, the high-end stuff. Southern Tide, Peter Millar, Johnny O, they got it all. And they got it in stock fully. They got jerseys, they got hats, all that great stuff right here in the Fayetteville store. So check them out. And it's at 3417 North College Avenue. Or you can shop them online and have it delivered straight to your door by going to InsideArkansas.com/alumni hall. InsideArkansas.com/alumni hall. Use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase. Check them out. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed with the amount of great things that they have and great apparel and everything for men, women, and kids, all there at Alumni Hall. It is the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. So, guys, just to throw it out there, we don't have to spend too much time on it, but I think maybe even I asked this question last year, but hey, the favorite moment, or at least the moment that stands out to most maybe, of War Memorial Stadium, Razorback games, good or bad, which moment do you always think of, or which game do you always think of when you think of Arkansas Razorbacks, Little Rock War Memorial Stadium?
Well, boys, I got to tell you, I think back to that 1960 season opening win over Rice, 3-0, beat the number 10 team in the country. Gets me tingling in the berries, boys. You know what I mean?
Well,
Miracle on Markham.
One,
right? I mean,
yeah. Part one.
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all ready for this? Is this a safe space?
Yep.
So I would have been 5 years old in 2002. I was not at that game. I remember being sad that I couldn't go to the game. And I remember being, what's even cruel, I remember being in Little Rock and family members of mine going to the game. And I was just a young pup at the time. And I was like, what the hell? Like, why couldn't I go to that game? So I'm sad that I missed that one. I was at Miracle on Markham 2, which was a great moment in my life. But for me, it's Pour Some Sugar on Me, 2010, beating LSU. Arkansas, a lot of our best wins in the history of our lifetime is, you're the underdog and you beat that top team. Like, that is such a good feeling. And Arkansas, I'm sure they were the betting underdog in that game, but it was, like number 5 versus number 8. It felt like Arkansas was on a big stage and we were like in a battle of titans. Like, it felt like it was 2 elite football teams. It did not feel like, hey, we don't belong here. We're punching above our weight class. It felt like a true, these are 2 of the top teams in the country, and we fit right in that context and whipped their ass. We went out there and beat Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, all those guys. I think that's like maybe my favorite, because I think that's a different level of satisfaction. It's cool in 2007 beating them when you're 8-4 and they're 10-1, but it's like when you're there and you're both 10-2, and it's like, let's just see who's the better 10-2 team, and you are. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly also as far as the poll goes, the one that's leading the way is 2010. I mean, which is understandably so. I mean, it's the most recent. In fact, I think it's the last it has to be the last great win in Little Rock. I mean, it has to be. As far as, I mean, you had some wins, but as far as great wins, it may have been, because I also believe that was the last time you played LSU in War Memorial.
Yeah, 2012 I think was in Fayetteville, and that was not a great win.
It was not. It was not. But honestly, mine was probably going to be the Miracle on Markham too, just because I wasn't there either, but I was in Central Arkansas. And because, me being a radio guy, that was like the last radio call I remember like listening to attentively. And I remember we were driving around running errands because it was Black Friday, and all the moms are going around, getting their deals at the Colony shop or wherever. I mean, it's just hanging out there and you having to go around. But I remember we went to my aunt's business and she had I was like, I need a radio. And she's like, I think there's one. So I went and I found this radio and I plugged it in and I was listening to it. And of course it was Paul Eels and Keith Jackson. But I just remember just hearing the call, of Matt Jones. And it was like one of the last ones I actually memorized because it was so iconic and so legendary. So either way, it was so cool. It was really cool to have that happen. And, and what it meant to go to the SEC title game. And because Matt Jones did play like crap. That's what people forget. Matt Jones played awful in that game. But then he's like, final drive. He's like, I got it. I'm fine. And then he just ends up throwing incredible passes and ends up winning the game. But the thing that people forget about, all that's great. Shout out to believe David Carlton, who hit the extra point after the excessive celebration penalty, because that changes everything. So, imagine if all that happened with Miracle on Markham and he missed the extra point and had to go to overtime. Imagine what that would have been like. Probably wouldn't have been remembered the same way. So, shout out to him. But that's definitely one up there. But it was funny too because I even listed Miracle on Markham Part 2, 2010 Sugar Bowl game against LSU or other. And literally combined of Miracle on Markham Part 2 and other didn't even get 10%. So I think it's just pretty much those two games that people are going to remember for the most part. So, but yeah, good times there. Good times once you get back to that. So we'll get to some of your chats, folks. Also have the heavy hitters. Shout out to Dylan for the super chat. Appreciate it. Says, super excited that Coach Cal is bringing back Midnight Madness. He also said that there will be one tip-off tour, location to be determined, also doing a pro day.
Yeah, that's awesome. John, when we were talking about this on the show the other day, I don't remember if I asked you or not, but I intended to. Did they ever do a Midnight Madness when you were in school or something like that?
It wasn't a Midnight Madness, but it was a thing. It's you know what? It's so stupid and too complicated to even explain. It was basically just a very small scale thing that certain students got to go if they paid money. So no, it wasn't as cool. But I did remember going when Nolan Richardson was here. Midnight Madness,
sick, dude. Yeah, and that's the thing about Cal. If they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it right. I mean, hell, he brought Drake to the Big Blue thing in Kentucky or whatever. Hell, I remember watching them do that on SEC Network. So it wouldn't surprise me if they find a way to get it broadcast or something. I'm really excited to see what that winds up looking like. I think it's very cool that they're gonna do it. It'll be better than, I cannot remember what the heck the name of it was, but the thing that me and Andrew went and sat at a couple of years ago.
I was waiting to bring up BWA Live, Curtis. I was going to say, do you think it'll be as hype as when you and I sat there, you, me, and that dork that has the Twitter account? It was literally just us. I can't remember who, but we literally were sitting there and there was a Duke Deuce. Yeah. And come on, remember that? Crunk ain't dead. Yeah, that was great. Everybody was injured for the dunk contest. So the dunk contest was like Kamani Johnson versus Connor Vanover. It was like everybody was hurt because I think Nick Smith was hurt. Ricky Council was hurt. And so it's like you had a dunk contest with that team and Anthony Black. I don't know if he participated. So it was not a cool event.
The 3-point shootout was Joseph Pinion, Cade Arbogast, and somebody else. And we were just like, what the hell is going on here? And there were like 200 students there and us. It was
awkward. It felt awkward to be in that arena.
Dude. Well, it's so funny too, because I started thinking about, if Cal does something crazy, bringing Drake, I don't know. That may be too much of an ask, but honestly, Cal, if you're listening, I know you are. Bring in some of these Kentucky guys in the pros right now and have them wear Razorback uniforms. If you do that, oh my dude, burn it down, Curtis. You're going to have to do a Pod at the Palace reaction immediately after just talking about that. Because could you imagine Anthony, like they do like a thing of Anthony Davis and John Wall and Boogie Cousins, and not saying it, but just like all the iconic ones, and they come out, they're wearing Razorback jerseys and doing the fireworks going off. Big Blue Nation may explode. Like they might lose lives because of puking so much their intestines pour out of their body because it would be that intense.
Yes. Get 5 of Cal's former players and then get 5 pro Hogs, former Razorbacks. Let them run 1 quarter, just up and down against each other. And then you can do your actual scrimmage in the 3-point contest against the girls or whatever. It'd be electric, man.
Dude.
You're not here watching the Razorbacks do a red-white game. You're here. You're going to watch Anthony Black and Bobby Portis play against John Wall and Boogie Cousins.
Yes.
But no, we seriously do, though. We need SGA. SGA just has to be there. He didn't, putting on a jersey. Just get SGA in the building. He's right down the road. Come on. He's got teammates. Come on. Bring him over.
And have the honorary coaches be like Corliss Williamson and Sidney Moncrief. Just get everybody. Everybody and everybody you can. And it would just be, it'd be too much.
Have Reed Shepherd pull up in his, the Razorback shirt and Kentucky shorts or whatever, and that'd be nice.
Yeah, but he's all Wildcat, man. He's all Kentucky. He's only Kentucky. Golly, again, that was just for like shirts being worn. I couldn't imagine what it would be like if those guys came out wearing red and wearing Razorback gear. I just hope it happens. And then Cal gets asked about it afterwards. Be like, hey, so what'd you do that? They came to me. They just wanted to help support the program. They're great kids. Great kids. These were guys I recruited, by the way. I don't know if y'all knew this. I recruited these guys. They came to play. They came for me. Let's make that happen, Cal, please.
You know what these guys didn't do? They didn't trip over pennies on their way to 200 million.
Exactly. Oh, man. Play the hits, dude. That'd be so great. Shout out to Corey Doves for a member for 4 months. Appreciate it. Says A-State finna get this beat down.
Love it. That's the energy we need.
Yes. And also interesting logo there about the Razorbacks. You're about to get an email.
It's like the Kool-Aid Man Razorback. It's like bursting through. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And hey, at least he spelled the woo with 2 O's instead of 3 O's in the background correctly. So that's good. Let's see. Also, Mike teed up says, never thought I'd be watching a simulation game of Arkansas over the first NFL game. Crazy. Hey, you're not the first one.
Watch both.
Yeah. It's that's the thing is you got multiple TVs. You can make it work. But make sure that ours is on the primary TV though.
For sure. With the volume.
Yeah, exactly. Austin from work says, I saw TG getting a lot of love this week from SEC media. He did look good. Do we think he looked that good though? Or were the other SEC QBs just not that impressive?
I think a little bit of all the above, like Arch Manning obviously was not very impressive at all. Yeah, I know people are real excited about him. DJ Lagway, they played a tomato can or whatever and blew him out. Lagway, I guess he only play a half or something, but he didn't put up crazy stats or anything like that. Lenore Sellers was pretty good, but they played a better team. But yeah, Talon looked awesome, as he should against a team like that. But I think any praise that he's getting, any love that he's getting is warranted. And I just hope he continues to double down on it, man.
I also think sometimes there's an art to just reading the writing on the wall. A lot of these guys that are national analysts, like Josh Pate or whoever, they look around at the landscape. They look at these quarterbacks. They look at what they've done in their careers and kind of just project. And a lot of times with quarterbacks, Talon's maybe not even a great example of this because statistically he's been about the same for his 3 years. But I think there are a lot of people who, if you just look at Talon, what he did last year, if you watched him play in that Arkansas offense year 2, you can just kind of assume he's going to be a little bit better. And so I think there are a lot of people who maybe in the last couple of weeks have started to really look at the numbers and be like, oh, you know what? This is actually a guy and not many people are talking about him. So I can look like a smart guy if I bring this guy to the table. I can't remember who it was that went on a radio show this week and was like, people are going to stop sleeping on Talon Green soon. But it has become a narrative here soon. He's become like a popular guy to throw out there to prove that ball.
Exactly. Also, too, I like Vince for me just says it's calling it a bad weekend to be in mashed potatoes. Yeah. Wasn't that Sam Pittman that dropped a mashed potatoes?
He did drop a mashed potatoes reference. He said, go Hogs after it, and which I'm assuming is a reference.
These are the times where I'm like, Pittman, you dog. You get it. Yeah.
There are so many things about that man that I do love.
I know. Just wish winning was one of them.
He's way more online than he acts like.
Yeah. There's never been a bigger lies. I'm not on. Okay, you're not on social media, but you're looking at it a lot. You're paying attention to it a lot. Either that or you got somebody sending you memes a lot. One of the two. So, I tell you what, we'll have some more of your chats. We'll have some heavy hitters. We'll remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas, Presented by Basis Health. Our friends over there, our guy Dre, because they're changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They're here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. You can also check out that QR code right there on your screen, as we appreciate Dre and Basis Health being a part of Inside Arkansas each and every day here on our show. Let's see a few more chats here. Seth just says, if this game was against a nameless, faceless Sunbelt team, there wouldn't be a question who's winning. Well,
I don't know if there is a question who's winning, but I agree with the premise of what you're saying to a degree. I will say, what are the other Sunbelt teams? Name me a Sunbelt team off the top of your head.
ULL.
ULL. If ULL had, a Jalen Rayner and some of those receivers that they have there, we would certainly be talking about those guys, and we'd be talking about, we got to see how Arkansas secondary holds up there. This will be a better test for them or whatever. But there's no doubt about it that the Arkansas being on the front of the jerseys there for Arkansas State, it just lends itself to a different type of conversation and a different type of pressure that Sam Pittman is feeling, and then honestly that the Razorbacks are feeling. Whether it's the fan base or the team or whoever. You never want to be in a position where you drop one of these games to a mid-major or whatever you call the equivalent of that with a football program. But when you do it to one end state, that's a tough scene. So yeah, it adds a little bit to it. And I just think the conversation is more people are listening because of it. But the conversations would still be happening no matter who they'd be playing, but it hits a little bit different when it's somebody across the state.
I definitely buy that if this were just a random, like Texas State even, who has G.J. Kinney, we could do our own storylines. I do buy that there wouldn't be any of these storylines, that we're talking about, hey, how historic is this matchup? Maybe we'd still be doing the stadium debate that we all love to do. But I actually don't buy that Arkansas being possibly going to be losing this game is one of the narratives. They're favored by a good bit. I know there's some people in the fan base, most of which are just kind of trying to create dissension, that are saying they're going to lose. But I think most Hog fans expect to win this game. Most expect to win it pretty comfortably. And I think nationally, I haven't seen anybody picking Arkansas State or anything like that. But I will say, we look at the Memphis game and we all agree Arkansas could lose that game. Would they not qualify as a nameless, faceless, not a Sunbelt team? They're in the American, but a just random group of 5 team. So to your Curtis, I think that this fan base actually has shown that they can look at group of 5 teams and identify things that could give them issues, which is what we're doing with Memphis and a little bit with Arkansas State to an extent.
Yeah. And I think, again, it goes back to a lot of it has to do with just Arkansas has had these moments and these times where things did not go well. So you can't just put it out of the realm of possibility that it could happen. Because college football is crazy. It's wild. It's any given Saturday, as they say. There's just so many things that could end up happening. And so for this one, I'm like, I don't think it. I don't predict it, but it could happen. And it doesn't matter about the Sun. It doesn't matter which team it would be. Any Sunbelt team or any Conference USA or WAC. I don't even know if the WAC's around anymore, but whoever it is, it could be. They're the Maction. I'd feel worse if it was a Maction team. So it's just you never feel good. You never feel comfortable about it.
John, do we still have the breaking news button?
Yes, I think.
Hit the button.
Okay.
Per Brett McMurphy, Arkansas is moving its 2026 home game with Memphis to 2030 to accommodate the SEC's new 9-game schedule. Arkansas's 2026 non-conference opponents, North Alabama, Tulsa, and Utah.
All right.
And that Tulsa game is at home, right?
That Tulsa game is at home. Yeah, the one the year after is on the road.
Better be. Okay.
So, there you have it.
So how do we feel about that? That's good, right? That's a good thing.
I guess I'm okay if you're still getting the home game eventually, from Memphis, then I guess I'm cool with it if they're just moving it back or whatever. I guess I was holding out hope that they were just going to scrap the thing altogether with Tulsa. That way you're not going there. And I hope they still get out of going there in 2027. I think it's ridiculous, but I'm not that bothered by them moving it and having these 3, these 3 particular games. Okay. You open with North Alabama, kind of a similar, an FCS, whatever. And then you get Tulsa at home and you go on the road to Utah. That's fine. That'll work.
Is that so now that we're going to have 3 non-conference games, one of which we know has to be a Power 4, is that just going to be the thing they do? FCS, Group of 5, Power 5. Is it that simple?
I think so. Yeah.
If that's the case, then I'm cool with that. And it does suck that in 2027, one of those 3 games is going to be on the road, and then potentially, I guess the Utah game will be at home that year. So maybe it does kind of work out. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I don't have any complaints.
And Jakota's right, I guess, that will Arkansas will play Texas Tech there in Vegas in 2030, and then they'll host Memphis at home in the same year there. So that's it's kind of sweet.
Hey, they've already started knocking off. I mean, you got to have 3. They've already started knocking off some of those. Now it's just pick your random FCS team, and you're set for 2030.
That's right.
We're going to have the whole schedule done for the next decade.
And I guess I may have said this, Curtis, but the Utah game is the road game, right? It's 2026. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, there you go.
Cool.
Moving and shaking.
That's right.
I can't wait for Sam Pittman to be asked about this. Hey, what'd you make of that? You'll be like, oh man, just hoping I'll be there, coach again, or at that point. So who knows what's going to happen. But
when I agreed to play at Tulsa, I didn't know if I was going to be here in 2027. But
you're playing at Tulsa, God, it just stop. It's just insane. All right. Also, shout out to Kaiser for Super Chat. Appreciate it. Says, are fans also nervous because Butch Jones is head coach? No, I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but it's not like, I wouldn't normally be concerned about Arkansas State, but because Butch Jones is their coach now, I don't know about that. No, I don't have that type of thing. In fact, I think Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken, is when he was at Tennessee, 1-0 against him, 2015. Just saying.
I would agree with that sentiment. Like Butch Jones, I respect what he's done. Solid coach. Like I'd say well above average group of 5 coach for sure. And he's done a good job at Arkansas State. So it's like, I respect him, but he's not the kind of coach that gives me the might knock off a top dog type of mentality. Like he's a very solid program guy, going to give you a pretty solid, team year in, year out. But like, he's not the type of guy that like typically is like slaying dragons. No. Whereas there are some coaches, the coach that he's not at Idaho anymore. He was at Idaho last year and he almost beat Oregon. Y'all remember that? He's now somewhere else, and they played someone close. I can't remember who it was, but like he's that kind of coach where it's like, oh, he's not even going to go 9-3 in his own conference, but he might beat Alabama, type thing. Butch Jones played Michigan fairly well last year, but I don't know if he has this legacy as like being a big game coach.
Yeah, I never had that. I got that vibe from him, but maybe I'm just in the wrong there. But again, that's just not the approach I've had from him. But you know what? Hey, this will be his. I'll tell you this. We talked about what if Arkansas loses. If Arkansas loses this game, Butch Jones is getting a new job next year. Like it could be that type of game where if he beats Arkansas, he gets a new job at a group of another school. I don't know if it'll be an SEC school, but a pretty solid, a much better job if he ends up having that game.
Arkansas State has kind of been a stepping stone factory in basketball and football here recently. So he's overstayed his welcome, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, if Arkansas State beats Arkansas, there's going to be at least two job openings in the state of Arkansas.
Yes. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe Arkansas State brings Gus Malzahn back, puts finish what he started for that one season he was there. I'm sure that'll.
I'm still not over what he did to Alabama last weekend, by the way.
It's still weird.
And I finally saw that Bruce Pearl tweet. So
was it good?
Yeah, it was real good.
Good. It's not totally on brand. We'll have our heavy hitters here in just a second. I want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas, we're brought to you by our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, because we know that Halloween just around the corner, and you want to get your house all lit up, looking good, and being the talk of the neighborhood in the best way, shape, and form possible. Because here's the deal, is that lighting's great, but for Halloween, especially when it's nighttime, you want it to look good and you want it to pop with all the other decorations that you have outside of your house. So let Walter Christmas Lighting help you out, because if you're in the Northwest Arkansas or in the River Valley area, they can come and install the lights for you at your house with professional lighting like you've never seen before. They provide everything for you, make it easy on you. You can choose any color, any pattern that you want to have. They also will install the lights. And the really cool thing about it is when you text them for an estimate, they will get a picture of your house and they will put it together what the lighting would look like. So that way you can see a little bit of what it'll all look like when it's all said and done. And if you sign up for Halloween lights, folks, you get your Christmas lights for 50% off. It's that simple. So text our guy Brett at 479-459-1380. That's 479-459-1380. You can also check out their website at walterchristmaslighting.com, or you can like them on Facebook by scanning the QR code on their screen right there. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right, a few more chats here too. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We just got James R. Whatever. He says, do you think if Hogs somehow lose that fans will be clamoring for a rematch? No.
Dude. Yeah. I started this one because there's something to the, all right, let's run it back when you lose a game. But this one, I don't know, man. Maybe that's a beta mentality on my part, but I might just be like, hey, clap, clap, bravo. We'll see you in a century, but we're done here.
Me personally, I would want to get it back, frankly. Like, I would want to wait until Arkansas got a, like, competent, like, real, Arkansas was rolling to play it then. But, like, I would want to play it. But, dude, there's a very big portion of the fan base that has been, like, literally horrified of this game for years. Like, dying, like, to not want to see this game. Like, they've been so horrified. So if Arkansas actually did lose this game and all their biggest fears came to fruition, you would never be able to get Arkansas to sign up for this game again.
And the thing is, if you were to lose the game and have to do a rematch, you'd have to do it at War Memorial.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really. Now, the game should be in Fayetteville no matter what, but you couldn't do oh yeah, we'll play again, but you got to come to Fayetteville now. Like,
That's just
man, this is tough.
But that's not even
like pro wrestling right here. Of like, we got a stipulation of like a retirement match, or like if we win the rights to War Memorial, you're playing here for another decade. It's like, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah, that would be. Hey, listen, if you want to motivate the teams and everybody, be like, all right, Arkansas, yeah, if you lose it, you're stuck here. You can't play in Fayetteville anymore. You got to play here. This is your own personal hell. You gotta suffer for eternity and playing in games in Little Rock. Like, that's what needs to happen. Let's just not let it happen, and then we can just move on, and everything's fine. Let's just not let them lose, and it'll be good. Our guy John Beckman said, at Porter, Wolves P to mark their territory. Wolves by 20.
Just thought it was funny.
Yeah, well, you know what, John? My Shiba dog Rowdy pees to mark his territory too, but I'm not trusting him to take on some Razorbacks. Okay, so like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, man, they pay to mark their territory. Ooh, so does every dog. Like, what does that mean?
I like John Beckman, man. He's a lone wolf in here too, which is,
Yeah,
no,
I'm surprised that there is only like one. Maybe I'm sure there's others listening, but I'm surprised we only have one that's like trolling in here.
John just got to stand on business. Like, you got to pull up for the post game show no matter what happens. John Beckman, we expect to see you in here, man.
In fact, I'll go as far as that. If Arkansas State wins, you can be a guest on it. We'll pull
absolutely. We will open the phone lines just for you, man.
Yep. You can just jump on in and give us the breakdowns and troll everybody. It'll be great. Let's see. Law Dog says there isn't an opportunity for A-State. Remember when Napoleon Dynamite got put in a headlock and got his head repeatedly slammed to the locker? That's what we're doing to A-State.
Dang.
Okay.
Right. Bully him.
I think there's a misconception happening with the chat where they think that us just doing the thing of like, hey, what would happen makes us think that we're like expecting Arkansas to lose, or we're picking Arkansas to lose, or that we even think it's going to be close.
Yeah. I get that sense too. Even though John led with, none of us expect this to happen. None of us think it's going to happen, but we at least got to talk about what if it did. Yeah, but
well, now you're expecting a level of media literacy that just probably doesn't always exist there.
But people get passionate about it and they start teeing off on it because it's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a scary thought.
It really is. It's nightmare fuel. It's absolute nightmare fuel. Dakota brought this up. I wanted y'all's thoughts on it. It said, breaking, did y'all see that Hunter Yurchek said there will be a second video board in left field about the same size as the current one before the coming season starts? Yes, I saw. In fact, I want to make sure I give him credit. Matthew Byrne, I guess, of the Democrat Gazette, said that his tweet says, AD Hunter Yurchek says there are no current plans to expand seating in Baum-Walker Stadium, but there will be a second video board in the left field ready by next season about the same size as the one in right center field.
Andrew?
I think this is weird. I don't like, it's not a big deal. I don't really I don't want to make it seem like I'm making fun of Hunter Yurchek and I'm like shaming everything he has going on. I don't know what the second video board does. Like, I'm trying to think of another baseball stadium, pro or college, that has multiple video boards. I'm guessing like it'll just be like a replay board. Like maybe you have like you got the lineup, you got the box score, you got the line and everything on one big, the main video board. Maybe this one in left field, is it just going to have something else? Like, I'm cool with that, because I hate when I go to a stadium and I'm like, where's the count? Where's the miles per hour? Where's all this stuff? So as long as you use it right, I'm cool with that. I don't know I would like to know what they're going to do with that second board though. Because is it just going to have the same thing as the first board? If so, I think that's stupid. But if it's just a second one that has like defensive alignment or replays or whatever, I guess I'm okay with it. But I don't know. I don't think Dave is going to be like thrilled about being like, no, we're not going to expand. We're not going to add seats, but we're going to put a big ass board in front of the hog pen so people can't see the game.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I need to see it before I pass full judgment. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm also just I'll be that guy. The budget wasn't exactly given to the Razorback baseball team as it should have been. So, is this something that maybe shouldn't have been spent on the video board? Maybe put more towards the revenue sharing and getting other players or something. I'm just saying. I'm just asking the question. Should have been done that way instead. Spending is a big thing. Do we need? Again, to your point, Andrew. Maybe there's a reason, but I just never. And talking to everybody at Baum, no one has ever said, "Man, you know what this stadium needs? Needs that screen out there in left field. I can't see out there in right field. I'm blind out of my right eye, but my left eye, is what I need to be." Like, is that really what the main priority needs to be? I don't know.
Now, that the tweet that you were reading there, did you say that it's going to be similar to, or did he say it's going to be the same size to the
About
one in
the
right?
same size.
He said about the same size, which and again,
Okay.
Maybe this is a thing. I've never seen this at any pro or college venue, having two big video boards in either side of the outfield. Yeah, I'm a little bit. I just want to see what it looks like. I'm not out on this. I do just want to see. I'm curious, and I can be talked in. I just want to kind of know more information and know.
Show us the sketch. Show us the blueprint. Let's see it.
My favorite thing will be next time we get a chance to hear from Dave Van Horn when someone asks him about it. I would be very curious to know his response. To see if he just maybe is all about it and this is something he's really wanted, or if it's more of a, I guess that's cool and all, but I'll be curious.
So when Dave talks about expanding the seating at Baum Walker, I have always heard it and been kind of like, how are they going to do that? Where are they going to put the seats? I'm kind of skeptical. So it's hard for me to knock Juracek for being skeptical, but I know that when Dave first got hired, one of the first things he went to Frank Broyles and said, I need more seats. And Frank Broyles was like, you're crazy. We have 5,000-6,000. Why the hell would you need more? He's like, trust me, we're going to need them. We need more seats. And Frank was just like, listen, I trust you, so I'm going to do it, even though I think this is stupid. And it wound up being a great decision. And I know how much that meant to Dave. I'm not saying it's a huge deal that Hunter Yurchek keeps telling him no on expanding and adding more seats. And which, by the way, if you've been to some of those games, they could use more seats. Low-key, like Arkansas could fit 12 or 13,000 in there. They really could. I definitely don't think Dave is going to be super thrilled about getting shut down again.
No, I don't think so.
He literally talked about it 3 days ago or 2 days ago, whenever that was. Matter of fact, let's just get to the heavy hitter segment because Dave is my heavy hitter. Let's get to the segment.
Yeah, because I'm going to say something I know I'm going to get in trouble for if I keep going on this. So we just need to get into our heavy hitters. But either way, let's do it. We're presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction, because we know that storms can hit so unexpectedly, and it's always tough here in the state of Arkansas when knowing how bad a storm is actually going to be. I mean, sure, meteorologists can say only so much, but you never know what type of damage it could be to your home, but especially to your roof. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't look at my roof very often. And even if I did, I wouldn't know if it was in bad shape or not. So no reason to just go out there and do it yourself. Let the professionals at HD Roofing check it out. They're going to give you a free inspection. And when you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on that professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. So don't wait. Don't wait till the storms hit. Don't wait till tornado season or storm season. Get it done right now. Get that inspection for free with HD Roofing at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. You can also check them out online at hdarkansas.com. It's HD Roofing and Construction, official sponsor of our heavy hitters. So I'll tell you what, Andrew, you just go ahead and go first, since it'll be a nice little segue since we're talking about Dave Van Horn.
So I spoke about this a lot, obviously, on my podcast, the Bombastic Podcast. Not sure if you guys have heard of it. Great baseball show, #1 in the state. And I know some people did listen, but I figured I would also just rehash my rant here on a little bit larger platform. I just love Dave Van Horn press conferences. You guys know. Have y'all ever heard me come away from a Dave Van Horn press conference and be like, didn't like what Dave had to say today? Like, I usually come away feeling good and being like, man, I'm like really impressed with just how prepared he is for every single question, how much detail he gives, how clearly he states things. And, I think we're hard on Sam Pittman a lot of times about his responses in press conference. Like he's just not prepared for some things, or maybe doesn't inspire confidence with some of his answers. And part of why we're hard on him, and it is a little bit unfair, but part of why at least I am, is because I see a coach at baseball that year round, no matter when you put a microphone in his face, he's ready to tell you exactly what his baseball team's doing, exactly what the program's expectations are, what they're going to do, what's going to happen. And he's not sitting here saying, well, hopefully we can get an even playing field or whatever. He even said the other day, there ain't no such thing as an even playing field. And we all agree Arkansas is much closer to being at the top of a playing field in baseball than they are in football. Same for basketball. Coach Cal would never tell you with a straight face that there is an even playing field, and he would never speak to a future where there is a such thing. And Dave even said point blank, some schools help out their programs more than others. And help out their programs, I love the way he phrased that, because he didn't say, well, some schools have more money and some schools, they can get better players because they can get a better roster because they have more money. He said some programs help some schools help their programs. And he hasn't gotten a ton of help from his athletic department. He's like the 12th highest paid coach in the country. I know that they don't get a budget set aside for them in terms of their roster. They have to go out there and find NIL deals for their players. They have to go out and fundraise themselves. And it's never gotten in the way of Dave having one of the best rosters in college baseball. It's never gotten away from him being able to compete for the best players in the portal, high school, whatever. And it's never stopped them from competing at a high level on the baseball field. Now, baseball's in a better position to do that than football. I get it. But when I watch Dave Van Horn speak and talk about his program, you just see such a clear difference. And I'm not trying to I know this sounds anti-Pittman, but it really just kind of vindicates the way I feel sometimes when I listen to Pittman talk and I just don't feel great about it. And I'm like, you can just tell he has a hesitancy about how he views the program, what he's able to accomplish. He wonders whether or not he can take Arkansas to that next level. He wonders whether or not he can compete with the best in the country. He wonders if players will want to play for his program, and Dave just doesn't. And I just really respect that and love that. And if you didn't watch his full press conference, which was on, I guess that was Wednesday. Was it yesterday? No, it was Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah.
It was Tuesday, right? Yeah. It's 31 minutes. Go check that out. Bombastic we did afterwards. But I just came away from it really. And by the way, I loved that he didn't have any issues basically coming right at his athletic director and being like, hey, man, we haven't gotten the help that we wanted to get. Whatever. We're still going to do what we got to do. It hadn't affected the way I recruit, hasn't affected what I can accomplish. We're going to go out there and do what we got to do. And he actually feels, by the way, recruiting wise, like Arkansas has more momentum than they've ever had. I saw someone in the chat say Arkansas is hosting 27 recruits for the Notre Dame game. Well, they're hosting 18 to 20 recruits from the 27 class. So I see how you got there. But then 18 to 20 kids. And he was like, some of these kids, he's like, we wouldn't have even been able to get on campus in past years. He's like, these are 18 of the top players in the class. And in the A&M game, they've already got a handful. They're going to add more there. It's just really cool to see, one, a coach not make excuses, a coach admit, hey, things are never going to be even, and I would never be doing my job thinking it's going to be even, but it ain't going to stop me from balling. I'm going to keep balling, and y'all are going to keep watching me ball. Let's keep doing this. I don't even need an athletic director. That's pretty much what he said Tuesday.
Yep, and that's why one of the many reasons why Dave is the best, and we love Dave. So, Kurt, what about you? Who's your heavy hitter?
I've got two, and I'm going to go in like reverse order of importance. I'm saving the best for last. My first one, though, this kid might have the award for the most heavy hitter mentions that we've had on this show, but it's relevant again. It's JJ Andrews, man. Credit where it's due to 24/7 Sports for doing the right thing, giving the man the respect that he deserves. Well-earned honor. He got his 5th star. Very, very happy for JJ Andrews. Got his 5th star today from 24/7 Sports, moved up to number 11 overall in the country. And that's awesome. And it's not just a deal about like, oh, well, we're glad that Arkansas's commitment is now a 5-star. Well, of course we are. That's awesome. But it's great for him, man, because that's something that's a hell of a reward for a lot of hard work that you put in and a lot of production. This guy, it's won state championships. He's won Peach Jam twice. And he's been the best player on his team every single time that he's done it. And works hard, goes about the right way. He's a good kid. And you just like seeing guys like that get rewarded. Whether he was a Razorback commit or not yet, I'm just very, very happy to see that. So kudos to 24/7 for doing the right thing and getting him up there. That's awesome. He should be a consensus 5-star now. Or excuse me, a composite 5-star. He won't be consensus because On3 will never give him the damn 5th star, but the people who know what they're doing did. And so I'm very, very happy for JJ. Wanted to give him a shout out there for sure. And yeah, the best for last. I mean, listen, my wife, it's my anniversary. You know what I mean? Like, we got to give a shout out to wifey here, but no, seriously, really do just appreciate Michelle a ton. Love her to death. She's a little warrior, man. She's just a busybody, and she's very, very pregnant right now. So it surprises me. You know, we're to the point here where it's like, oh, okay, we're getting close, and we got so much that we need to do or whatever. By the end of the day, I'm worn out, man. She's not. Like, she just keeps going. The motor never stops. And like yesterday, after we wrapped the show and got some things done, I was like, all right, I'm going to go in here to the nursery, and I'm going to get the baby monitor ready to roll and get the stand up, and we just have all that done. And so I did all that, and I felt accomplished. And then I walk out into the kitchen, and I see Michelle, and she's just sitting in a chair, and she has pulled everything out of the pantry, all of it. And she's just reorganizing it all. It's like a multi-hour project. I'm like, yep, okay. I feel like I haven't done a damn thing, but no, kudos to Michelle. Very proud of her. Love her to death. We're celebrating our 3rd year of marital bliss here today.
That's awesome. Yeah, she even says in the chat, I'm blushing over here. So good job, Curtis. You nailed it. You nailed it on there. It was really nice.
Dinner's on you tonight. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say that was really nice of you to be able to, have a kid around your anniversary. That was really cool. And it was really, really well done on your part, like timing mathematically. It's really cool.
It's the month of September is just going to be one big celebration between anniversary. We'll have the kiddo's birthday, and then hers is also later in the month. So it's just like craziness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Some people would rather have all of those things all at once, so that way you have 1 month of all together,
Right. You might be onto something there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Launches awesome. You right into holiday season too. Then you've got your October. You see, like, my birthday's in November. I've always liked. I'm like, I like my birthday right after Halloween, and then Thanksgiving's a couple weeks. It's like it makes the fall cooler. I think you're gonna have a lot of good falls in your future.
I love it.
Yeah. That's a great one. My heavy hitter is, and I think I texted you guys about this last night. I had a chance to go and watch the premiere of 1-5 by Hogs Plus last night. I don't know if it was at the Fayetteville Public Library, but it was part of the Fayetteville Public Library. I'm just be honest, I felt really lazy because, guys, I could have walked there. You know where I live. I could have walked there, but I didn't. I drove. I'm sorry. But either way, I went there and I checked it out. And, for those of you who remember, it's a documentary on Ryan Mallett and the passing of him, and just happened a few years ago, and just kind of going through his life and his career and interviews and everything. And I want to give them a shout out. They were my heavy hitter because that was an outstanding, well done thing. I went to school with Ryan and at the U of A, and me and him were the same age. And the first time I ever met him was a pretty awful, first impression, I'll admit. But, and I'm not even going to say we became friends, but we, as time went on, we were cool. And, when he went down there and coached at Whitehall, we definitely we're really cool and doing some stuff content wise and all that. But either way, it was just really well done, and it was waterworks over here, man. I got really emotional on a few of those occasions, and it was just a really well done. The family was there, learned a lot of cool stuff, and it was just really well done. And I want to give a shout out to them because it's one thing to have storytelling and to just put something together that's very whatever, but the way that it was done and the handling of it, and I think it paid the respect, it paid homage, but also didn't run away from everything. Very emotionally gripping and all of that. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Hogs Plus and to 1-5. That was really, really well done. And it was, again, if anybody has a chance to check it out, be sure to do so. It was, and also just it gave me goosebumps too. I'm just gonna be honest, guys, seeing some of those plays, and then they talked about the 2010 Bama game. And as I've always said, the only time in my life that I felt like Arkansas football was the #1 team in the country and the national champion was after that wheel route play. That was the one moment in my life I felt that way. But it was great done for that. The LSU game, the ups and downs, the NFL part of it. It was all really good. So again, that's my heavy hitter. I just want to give a shout out to them because it was pretty emotionally gripping. It also just takes you back to a time too of, man, just how unique it was. You had a 5-star quarterback that was like all about the Razorbacks and was really good and had the players around him. And Bobby was interviewed in it and he got emotional, which is always kind of still makes me feel weird, but really emotional there too. So either way, definitely give a shout out to them because they did a really good job with it.
That's awesome, man. No, I'm glad you got to check that out. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Literally every single piece of feedback I've heard or anything I've seen get posted about that, rave reviews. So it sounds like they did one hell of a job, and that's awesome, man. I'm glad that they did it, and I'm glad that they did it the right way.
Did they discuss Houston not offering him as a wide receiver / tight end? Did that come up?
It did.
It did.
Nice.
Yep. It was. I'm not going to spoil it too much. It's not really a spoiler, but they were talking with Ryan's high school coach, Coach Surratt, and he was saying that Mallet went up to a camp, and it was when Mitch Mustang, because Mitch Mustang was a year older. He's from that class, and he said that the high school coach was getting a call from someone up there. He's like, Coach, you got to get him out of here. They're using him as a tight end right now. And then he's like, what do you mean he's using him at tight end? And then you hear the guy on the phone go, oh man, what a great catch. It's like, catch my move. He's like, Ryan just dove for a catch in the end zone and caught it as a tight end. He's like, get him out of there right now. Do not get him hurt. So it was pretty funny. Had some funny moments and all that. So yeah, again, definitely have a chance to check it out, folks. Do be sure to do so. So, all right. So that's our heavy hitters. We're getting to our final segment here on the show. Get to some of your chats as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and want to remind everybody, Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. They are one of our official sponsors here, and we really appreciate them partnering with us. It was really fun to go down there into Hot Springs and check out their marina and check out all the great benefits that they have. What we know with summer winding down, people are like, well, I don't know about going on the water anymore. Have you never been on the water in the fall? You never been out on the water when the leaves are changing, especially right there in the Hot Springs area, and the weather's just perfect and everything's so calm. That's an incredible time. And guess what? Freedom Boat Club, they just don't do business in the summer. They do business all the time. So be a member and become a member, because they give you access to the boats without the commitment that you have to have of maintaining the boat, doing maintenance on the boat, any of those things. They take care of you. And they have locations in Greers Ferry Lake, Lake Hamilton, as well as down there in Little Rock on the river, and new locations soon to come here in the state of Arkansas. And if you text the words Inside Arkansas, just 2 words, Inside Arkansas, to 501-270-6477, you'll get 50% off your initiation fee. It's that simple. So check them out today. It's Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. You can see their website at freedomboatclubar.com for more info. Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. All right, so getting into our final segment here on the show, get some of your chats. Appreciate everybody tuning in and coming to hang out and everything. Carter says, On3 gave J.J. Andrews 5th star as well. Is this true?
No, that it's not true. But if you go to their rankings, they it's a little bit confusing, because what they have, they call it the rivals industry, and that's where JJ has his 5th star. That's the composite. So they take an average of all the people who do the rankings. So it's like Rivals, 24/7, ESPN, whoever, and they average it out. So when I was saying like a composite 5-star, that's what I meant, like the industry average or whatever. But if you go over to the next tab, which is like their specific rankings, they have him not only as a 4-star, they only have 2 5-stars. They do it's just a little bit different of a system that they have, but they have him quite a bit lower. I think, maybe a dozen or more spots lower than anybody else does there. But yeah, you'll see that from time to time. It's weird that they have it as their first tab, because you would think, okay, shouldn't they be promoting their own rankings? It tells me maybe they don't have that much confidence in them. You know what I mean? But we used to run in that with 24/7 when we worked there, Andrew, all the time, with the difference between their rankings versus the composite, which is like the average of everybody there.
Yeah, 24/7, when you're looking at like a full class, it's showing composite rankings, but then when you click on a player, it shows composite and the 24/7 rankings, which usually aren't too far off, But yeah, I got caught up with that a good bit, where I'll be like, hey, this guy's a 4-star on 24/7. They're like, no, he's actually 89.3, you idiot. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Here's the thing is whatever ranking, I've always said this, whatever ranking has my favorite player, the player I want the highest, that's the one that matters. Okay. So, I mean, if whoever's got JJ Andrews as a 5-star, that's who I care about. And if you don't have him as a 5-star, you're an idiot. You don't watch ball. You don't have any clue what you're talking about. That's just the way it goes. Transplant Texan says, Ellis with the Cure CF hat.
Yeah, you like that? You like that? Cure. That is cystic fibrosis. That is not center field. That is not Kirsten Franklin. That is cystic fibrosis. I'm pointing at you, the camera. You too as well. John, you've already contributed to the cause, which we appreciate. We know. The committee knows. If you want to cure cystic fibrosis, I tweeted out a link right when we started the show. Click on that link. You can give any amount of money you want. It's going to a great cause. Tomorrow's the last day. We did some volunteering last night. Boy, they put our asses to work, man. They put us to work stuffing those gift bags at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. But it really is a great cause. A lot of awesome people involved that have raised a lot of money. It's been super cool to be a part of that.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I kind of felt like that's what the hat meant, but you have an assortment of hats I never really know. So
John contributed to the cause by getting hammered, which is like the best way to contribute to the cause. And I say that not even jokingly. We had a great day.
Yeah, it was cool seeing all the places. I don't get up to Bentonville very often, or is it Roger? It was Bentonville, right? Not Rogers.
It was Bentonville. Yeah.
I've seen Bentonville stuff, and some of the cool stuff up there was pretty great. So, let's see. Also, Trey says, if the defense is not as good as we think this year, does Pittman make Bobby slow down to keep the ball away from the other teams, or just say, hey, our offense will outscore you?
So this is a valid question because I've kind of always felt that way a little bit of, the best defense is a good offense that can play keep away. And I felt like the best version of this Arkansas team, of course, Taylor Green's got to be good at football and he's got to do it with his arm specifically, especially against those good defenses. But I felt like with Arkansas could maybe lean on their run game a little bit. Because even last year, as much as the O-line struggled, they really didn't struggle a ton in the run game. They were able to kind of move the ball and run the ball against some good teams for the most part. I feel like the best version is doing that keep away. And a lot of what we heard in the offseason was, hey, we're going to unleash Taylor Green. We don't want running him 15 to 20 times. That's some of the things that you hear. Obviously, they didn't do that against Alabama A&M, and no qualms with me, but I do wonder how much they're going to unlock those QB keepers, QB reads, QB power, especially you look around college football, how many teams do it? I mean, Georgia Tech, they're running QB counter, QB draw, QB dive, QB sweep. They just literally just dial up Haynes King's number. I wonder how much we're going to start seeing Arkansas do that. But I think that's a big question mark I have is, can Arkansas really do that? Can they control a game in the run department?
Yeah, I just want to see him score every time they get the ball. But I think there is something to be said to where if you can be effective by having good methodical drives, that helps out a struggling defense. So whatever gets them to win games, I don't really care. I don't care. But let's see. Also, where's that? Oh, Hickory Hawk says, can't believe BBN isn't in here defending their beloved university. Give it time. They haven't just gotten word of it yet. They haven't woke up from their night jobs, of doing some. Actually, I'm not going to be mean. Either way, they're just not here yet. They're still in kind of somewhat football mode, maybe. And I don't know if they're doing that or not, but
they're too busy crowding my mentions because I congratulated JJ Andrews for getting his 5th star.
He's trash.
They're the epitome of the get in there and make it about you gif, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's great though, because it's so much fun to see how much they care about something that doesn't really matter that much.
I am very much looking forward to basketball season and that banter again, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's or they're too busy freaking out over the historic nature hike that the team's doing or whatever I don't know.
Okay.
Stupid stuff.
I keep my thoughts to myself about that one.
Yeah, let's say, yeah. Folks, if you want to know our thoughts, just go in and read our group text.
Oh,
that you don't have access to. So, let's see. Also, Porter just says, seen an ASU fan at Sam's in J-Town today. Asked if he was going to the game. He said, yes. Hit him with a woo pig. He pissed down his pants. F.A. Wolf, Hogs by 90. All right. Well,
you see the piss form right away. You saw the shade turn a little bit. That's good.
Yeah. He was wearing pants. It's hot outside. You sure he wasn't shorts or anything? Come on. All right. Well,
you sure it wasn't just a wolf marking his territory?
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Oh, good. See, where we go. We got Cats by 90. He says, y'all will lose to A-State. There he is. There's the man. Golly.
Hey, even if they do, it'll be a funner watch than Kentucky and Toledo was.
Yeah, that was a stinker. But hey, Calzada at QB, man, you never know. The ceiling is the roof. I do hope
yards per attempt.
Yeah, I do hope Kentucky can soften up Ole Miss for us. You know,
it would be nice of them to do, but I don't think we'll get that lucky. So either way, I'm glad that you're still around. Cats by 90. Also, Dylan just says Bruce Pearl said he won't be coaching that much longer.
I saw I guess it was, I think he did an interview with Rothstein, and I saw him put something out about that. I haven't looked at the clip yet, but I don't guess Quinn's in here today, but I'd be interested to get his reaction. That doesn't surprise me though, with Bruce Pearl, because there were some rumors, and some of it was probably in jest or whatever, that he might try to run for some sort of office, like get into politics and stuff. But he's very outspoken when it comes to a lot of his political views, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he wound up doing. I don't know if he'd be running for office or whatever, but getting more and more involved in that kind of thing. I did see that he was really teeing off about some of the stuff that Cal does too, with the being upset about the transfer portal or whatever. But he was very upfront about saying we got to have a level playing field, and you can't blame the kids for transferring. But when you got a school like Kentucky that's spending 2 or 3 times as much as some of the teams in our conference, how the hell are you supposed to compete with that? He just kind of put it out there, and I was like, wow, interesting.
Yeah. Bruce Pearl's only 65. I thought he was younger than that, to be honest. Or say only. I thought he was younger than 65, but he's actually.
Me too. He's 65, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, he's been coaching at the SEC level for 20-something years.
Yeah. Wow.
He's coached. Dude, he's going to end up coaching his 1,000th game this season.
He's aged. I gotta say, he's aged well. Like, he looks pretty similar now to what he did in 2008.
Cal is 66.
Yeah.
Also aged well.
So, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that's including, what was it, like a 4 or 5 season sabbatical that Bruce Pearl took, from his show cause or whatever it was. So,
college basketball head coach, that's like the opposite of president. President makes you age really quickly. Think about, Coach K, he looked the same for 40 years. Roy Williams always kind of looked old, but he looked old when he was 44. So it's like he kind of looked the same. Bill Self looks exactly the same. Bruce Pearl. We got a lot of a lot of vampirism going on in the college basketball coaching world.
John, was it you that said Rick Barnes has looked the same his entire life?
Yeah.
He has looked old since 2005. That's right.
It's hilarious, man.
Yeah. Something about basketball. I don't know what it is, but it definitely ages well. And the final chat we'll get to. John Beckman says Kentucky and Arkansas State handshake. Have at it, buddy.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Sure.
If that's what you want, go right ahead. Because you know what?
Those two things have in common? Ass whipped by the pigs. That's what they have in common.
Yeah. And here's the thing, John, also, who's not going to care one way or the other about that? Like, after this weekend, Kentucky fans, they will not be like, oh man, we're always rocking with Arkansas State. No, they will not care about you at all. So
they will not be tapped in for you versus Iowa State.
Yeah, you're like the old teacher that tries to be cool with the popular kid in class. You're like, yeah, cool, man. Okay, go on. Like, no one cares about you. So either way. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
Watch Pod the Palace. Watch the Bombastic Podcast. Watch all the things, and also subscribe so you can watch all the things.
Yes, I do like that, John. I like that reference about Kentucky being the popular guy and Arkansas State's like they joined forces that one time, and then the nerd is like, hey, remember that thing? It's like that's totally going to be it. That was in my brain. I like that. I don't have any final thoughts. Woo damn pig, things of that nature, all of the above.
Yeah, there you go. And to echo what Curtis said, just subscribe to all of the stuff, because we're going to have our EA Sports College Football 26 live stream tonight of Arkansas and Arkansas State simulation at 8 p.m. So be sure to be tapped in for that. And also our Inside Arkansas recruiting podcast was going to be out this morning, but some technical things. But either way, it's going out today at 3 p.m. And we're going to have Dudley be a part of it a lot moving forward. In fact, he's not going to be on with us tomorrow because he is going to a funeral, but we will be playing a little update from Dudley Inside Arkansas Live every Friday, just kind of looking at the visitors and who's upcoming and everything. So we look forward to that. So be sure to subscribe to that, as well as everything Inside Arkansas Football Podcast, because we're going to be having pregame and have postgame. Going to have report card, accountability sessions, of course, your Razorback devotional, which so many people love. But either way, we're going to have a lot. So be sure to be tapped into all of our content here at Inside Arkansas. Subscribe to us on our YouTube page. Be sure to check us out wherever audio podcasts are found. You can also check us out on social media at Inside Arkansas. And that'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, as well as intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. for the EA College Football 26 simulation between Arkansas and Arkansas.